Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love, American made.
Thanks, Time Ties. I love when we're out of sync together. Alright. Listen up, Autothoughts and Decepticlowns. You're listening to Prime Cuts, a non-linear exploration of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Audrey.
I'm the other host, Nero.
And we have ended an era.
I just want to say it's very fitting that we watched these episodes on April the 12th, which is, of course, for all those who celebrate, Russian Tuant Day. This is a day that the Russian Tuant post was made.
Yes. We get a bunch of Russian twants in this.
There's quite a few Russian Tuants here in the last episode.
Actually, they're Kaonian twants.
We watched the final two episodes of Transformers Armada. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no more.
And the series has a very definitive ending, as you would expect from the first part of a 3-part series.
Yeah, it's weird that they never made any other shows. They certainly never made a sequel to this show. Don't worry about it.
Not even one. Never mind two. Not even one.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot happens here. So I think we should just go ahead and dive right into it, right? Like, there's no use for preamble. We got a couple of grande-sized episodes here.
Yeah. Episode 51 in the sub is Conclusion of a Decisive Battle.
In the dub, it is Origin. Obviously, Unicron's origin.
Haven't we used Origin before?
No, the I know which one you're thinking of. It's the one where they go back in time and they like bond with the Minicons. No, that one was Drift. That one was called Drift. I don't think they've used Origin.
Okay.
Listen, they were really stretching on the last.
Maybe they used it in the sub.
Oh, they probably did.
Maybe
I think that's what.
Yeah.
I think that's what that episode was called in the sub. It was
Maybe.
like something Origin.
Something Origin, because I'm so certain I've seen that episode title, but maybe it was just in the sub.
Anyway, things are going poorly. Cybertron is exploding and on fire. So
just a little bit.
Yeah. Red Alert sort of digs himself out of the rubble and stumbles onto the surface of Cybertron to reenact that one Community gif. To just see, everything's on fire. Unicron is fighting his like Minicon projected counterpart in the sky. Bad scene all around.
Meanwhile, like inside Unicron, like Optimus and Megatron are still there, and the kids are like, "Great googly moogly, we have to find Megatron and Optimus."
Yeah, so
this thing's the size of a planet, though. So
yeah, I mean, I guess they got there pretty quick. They find Optimus and Galvatron already standing within Unicron's heart. They already got there. And so the Starsaber is sitting out right in front of them, and Galvatron goes, "Oh, hey, it's the Starsaber. Neat. I'm going to go grab it." Now Optimus is like, "You do not touch that." But he tries to, and he gets scared off by weird, creepy tendrils that try to grab his hand.
I've seen this hentai.
Unicron continues to be weirdly organic.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it. It's literally the Double Gundam.
It is. And so after he tries to grab the hilt of the Starsaber, someone says hello. An old familiar voice greets them. It's Sideways. He's talking to them from seemingly nowhere.
Though his old familiar voice does not last for long. I would say Sakupon's role in this episode is extremely limited.
Yeah, he's got like 2 or 3 lines as actual Sideways, because as he emerges from Unicron's heart, he basically instantly goes into a much deeper growling voice and introduces himself as Unicron. Sideways was always a shell, an extension of his will that he could basically like a.
We've known this for 30 episodes.
Yes, but I don't think it's ever been explicit that like. We knew that Sideways was an agent of Unicron. We didn't know that he was literally like Unicron.
I don't know. I feel like we did.
We knew he was.
Here's the thing.
Connected.
I think that the moment that that he turned up as Data and was able to just be like, I'm static now, that was the moment where it's like, this guy is clearly Unicron.
Yeah. Like, he's been creepy and weird the entire time, but now finally he is standing here saying, yeah, I'm Unicron.
But it's not just him being creepy and wet. It's like him being unkillable.
Yeah.
That is the thing that makes him, like, clearly Unicron. Because him being creepy and wet, it's a good gym, sir. It's a good Decepticon, sir. Is, like, that could just be, like, weird agent cult shit. But the fact that he's unkillable and turns into static and can, like, morph himself into fucking Nemesis Prime, like, that's the shit that makes him, obviously, Unicron.
Yeah, so he is a like, extension of his will, a tiny bit of himself that can operate independently. And before he reveals this, though, in the dub, Galvatron says, another Autobot deserter to Sideways. And Sideways answers, oh, please, I'm so tired of your petty labels. Great.
Weird?
Yeah. And so, yeah, Unicron is just chatting with them and basically saying, yeah, so I was able to absorb all of the aggression from your eons long war. He's was like, just
get mad.
Yeah. He was like, "Are you mad? Are you fucking angry? Good.
Drink your negative emotions. I drink them up."
So the entire time the Civil War was happening, the moon was sitting up there just sucking up all those bad vibes and getting stronger and stronger. And he is basically like, yeah, I just want to thank you both so much for helping this plan along. As a reward, I do intend to subsume you within my being.
Yeah, so again, like, almost immediately he heads into this deeper voice. I don't know what it's like in the dub, but in the sub at least, what we do get from Sakupan for the rest of the scene, and is so eerie, is just his laughter in the background.
Ooh.
So, like, Unicron's talking, and you hear Sakupan as Doubleface just laughing in the background. It's very distinct. He has a pretty distinctive laugh.
I really wish we got that.
Yeah, and you just hear him laughing in the background, and that's it. Like, that is the background noise to Unicron monologuing at them. It's really effective.
I mean, Unicron's dub voice, it is Mark Akison, who I'm sure also did the growls from earlier, when he was annoyed at Thrust. It's a very, very gravelly, low voice. Have you ever seen, now I know this dub is very bad, but have you ever seen clips of 4Kids Crocodile from One Piece?
Oh, Christ, no. I didn't watch a single moment of that, thank God.
It's honestly a pretty good voice. I like that voice in theory more than the funny dub, Funimation dub for him. But it's very much like that. It's very much down here. I want to thank you, Optimus.
Yeah. Sakupan is, again, like, he made his entire career off of BL. Specifically playing bottoms in BL. I don't think he's ever played a top. So...
Well, we know a lot more about Sideways now, I guess. And by extension, Unicron.
Yeah.
Who knew?
That's not true. Kyoko Mao, I guess he's the top there. And actually, so, I won't go too far into this, but Kyoko Mao's a BL isekai, where he plays the main character who finds out that he gets, like, transported to this fantasy world, as you do in isekai, and he finds out that he's, like, the demon king there.
Wow.
And he actually he actually gets possessed by the entire point that I'm trying to make here is he actually gets possessed by the spirit of this demon king, and that voice that he uses specifically when he is like possessed by this like demonic force is the voice that he uses for Doubleface. But generally speaking, he has like a pretty like tenor voice. He doesn't have that low of a voice, and it's kind of nasally. So you get like this sort of like really condescending laughter, that like in the background.
What is Unicron's voice like? Is it just
it's what you would imagine it to be. It's like low and you know, it's not that gravelly, but it is like very deep.
Right. So immediately Optimus and Megatron or Galvatron are restrained by what else? Weird fleshy tendrils. He loves it.
I've seen this hentai.
And he basically Unicron there's a really odd character arc for Optimus that kind of starts, at least in the dub, in these last 2 episodes where he's struggling with Unicron basically tells him, listen, you
You're
can
kind of
say
a sicko.
Yeah, you can say you fight for peace all you want, but the fact is that this war is still half yours. Like you still continue to fight. You are not blameless for that. In fact, I think deep down, you know you enjoy the fighting. And of course, Optimus denies all this, but Unicron says, "Yeah, whatever. What the fuck ever. Say whatever you want." And like, yeah, as the Armada is attacking Unicron from the outside, like they're basically doing nothing. He is destroying vast swaths of fighters, even as he is like being held at bay by this Unicron of light that the minicons have made. He is still wiping the floor with everything. Luckily, though, Sideswipe lands a direct hit. Let me read my notes here. Sideswipe blows a huge hole in his thrussy, which allows the fighters to fly inside. I mean, it's simply true. Are we going to dispute the facts?
Well, yeah, a little, because thrussy implies that he's deep throating that shit. Whose dick he sucking?
True. I don't know.
If he ain't sucking dick, then that's just a throat.
You know, that's true. All right, so he blows a hole in his throat, and all the fighters fly in.
Or if he's not being penetrated by something. So I guess you could say that in this case.
I mean, he's eaten a lot of Cybertron.
Yeah, fine. Okay, that's fair. But it's non-traditional.
It's a non-traditional thrusy. Let's move on. Yeah, so Unicron just sort of tells him, like, you have lost. You basically just submit and be subsumed and make everything easier for all of us. Optimus once again says, how about you fuck off? And the Matrix begins to glow a bit as he says this. Galvatron, meanwhile, he's gone.
Yeah, so Galvatron's like, hey, Unicron, suck my dick. And Unicron's like, no, as we've established, it's not a thrusy if I don't suck a dick. And then he just, he just, like, starts subsuming Galvatron. He's like, shh, 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 shh. And the Galvatron goes night-night.
Yeah, he goes night, like, very much as, like, the drained husks from the bad timeline that the humans visited. Speaking of which, they are also here, I think, at this point.
Well, okay, so 2 things. One is that, like, Optimus watches a lot that happens in this episode without saying or doing anything, which is pretty fascinating.
He's just sort of taking it all in.
Yeah, my man is going through it. The other thing is that at some point, I don't know, there is something, I have a note here, which I think has to do with the Microns. Who are still engaging with Unicron in their giant form. And I have a note here that says, stop hitting yourself to new levels.
Yeah. So what happens here is the Armada, like, blows up a bunch of shit in Unicron's interior. They give him a really bad case of indigestion. And then he instantly repairs it. Like they go through all this shit. So many people get blown up by his inner defenses. They launch this daring assault, and then they fly back out, and all repaired. And Hotshot just says, well, fuck. Retreat, I guess. This clearly isn't working. So then the humans and the minicons arrive after because Unicron has a cool line in the dub here as he's talking to Optimus once more. He says, "You crave war the same way a human craves oxygen, and it is foolish to deny it, Optimus."
Why do you know about humans?
I mean, he's been on Earth a long time. He was with the Autobots. Everything Sideways knows, he knows.
I guess. But why would you spend time learning about the Krebs cycle? There's one step, it's crab.
I mean, Sideways probably at some point just downloaded the whole internet for shits and giggles.
That's right. Oh, I remember what it is now. Right, so the humans show up with the Microns, and the Microns are, like, talking back to Unicron, and I think Unicron actually strikes Wheelie, maybe?
I think there's like a weird wire tendril that slaps him.
Yes, I think that's what happens, and that's what I was talking about, stop hitting yourself to whole new levels.
Yeah, they basically arrive, and Highwire goes, "Fuck you, Dad, you aren't the boss of us, we're gonna fuck you up." And Unicron says, "Yeah, whatever. Whatever, you fucking losers."
And then he, assaults the entire group of them. And again, Optimus is right there and just watching this silently. It's like, homie, you can at least say something. I understand you're bound up in tentacles, but you're just watching.
He's just sitting there. Also, another cool line from Unicron here, where Unicron tells Highwire, "My fate is your fate. You were made from me." Which is very ominous.
Your fate, and your fate is my fate.
So, Highwire and the others sort of slowly walk forward, seemingly defiantly, but then...
Psych!
Unicron does some shit. So, the Unicron of light that has been holding him back dissipates, and all of the street action team turns around to look at all of their human friends with their creepy, evil, blank faces. They are all of the minicons have once again become extensions of Unicron's will. Oops. Uh-oh.
You did this.
Then all the minicons start blowing the fuck out of the armada. They just start, it's real bad. The kids also get subsumed into Unicron. He's just like, why not? Whatever.
Yeah, right. Exactly. As Optimus does exactly fuck all about any of this.
He's just not even struggling, as he's just like, well,
he's not struggling. He's not even saying something. He's not, trying to bargain with Unicron, let them go. They have nothing to do with this or anything like that.
He's just observing. He's
just doing absolutely jack shit.
It's weird. And Optimus is now the only one who is still conscious. And he offers Optimus a wager. It's like, you know what? How about you and me, one final battle for the fate of everything? How about that, Optimus? I know you like to fight. How about we go on a rumble here? But that never really comes up again. I don't know why he says this.
I mean, I could have, looked away from the screen when that was happening in the sub, but I don't recall that happening.
Anyway, the kids are in the fucking mind zone again.
They're in a mind zone, and it's so good. They're in a mind zone with Megatron.
Yeah, so...
You're lucid dreaming, but this time Megatron is there.
This one is, way more disjointed than any of their other mind zones, right? This one is just... Everybody's minds are blending together. Rad wakes up in his bedroom, then he's in the forest with the others, and then they, walk into a fucking corridor where Galvatron is sitting there on a throne wearing a big Decepticon cape and going, "Who goes there? I am the king of all Decepticons. How dare you enter my realm, puny insects?"
And they're like, okay. And Megatron's like, "I'm just gonna kill you." And Alexa's like, "Nope." And they all pop away to a forest again. And Jim's like, "What the fuck just happened? And Alex is like, we're in a giant mind meld, so I just created my own reality.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, sick!
It's a push and pull of everyone's, like, mental energies.
I am controlling the Polycule Mind Palace now.
She is. And as they keep getting flashes of, like, Unicron as they try to figure things out, and, you know, him just absolutely fucking shredding Cybertron with laser fire. We see Cybertron later. There's, like, a gigantic hole missing on one entire hemisphere of the planet.
Which is actually a very
bad.
classic look for Cybertron, actually. If you look at, like, Cybertron throughout the ages, this is, like, not an unusual depiction of it.
Yeah. And they also glimpse Highwire, like, moving through the trees of the Mind Forest. So they're like, oh shit, he's still in here somewhere. We gotta find him. We gotta break him out of this trance. So they're all calling out for Highwire. And Unicron hears and says, we don't need any of this. So he kind of manifests in there as a big evil storm and goes, hey, shut the fuck up. Just stop. You're not going to be able to change anything. So how about you just be quiet? How about you just sit down and you go on a little mind adventure? But of course, eventually Highwire and the other Street Action team members reawaken. And then they sing to all the other minicons. Once again, we have this recurring minicon song for the last time.
Yeah. So I've realized now why Double Face would be interested in learning about the Krebs cycle, where it's one step and it's crab. It's because all the microns are cancer.
Yep. So all of the minicons begin reabsorbing themselves into Unicron's body and just blowing shit up.
They're literally tumors. It's pretty impressive.
All three of the minicon weapons managed to break apart. We forgot to mention, the Starsaber looks normal. The Requiem Blaster and the Skyboom Shield are, like, mostly subsumed and covered in veins. It's gross. It's bad.
Yeah.
So, you know, much longer that would have been a permanent addition to Unicron's collection, but they all managed to break apart. So this is a weird thing that happens. Optimus and Galvatron break free. So Optimus also got a new toy recolor in the final wave of Armada, just like basically everyone else.
What was this?
And for some reason they decided to just do it at the very end of the show, like literally the end of the penultimate episode. He gets his new colors without any explanation. Like, if you expect that they said something about it in the dub, they didn't. He just inexplicably gets supercharged and has new colors. They're like evil colors. He's got red eyes now. He's cool looking. He looks a little bit like Nemesis Prime, but with more highlights.
Yeah, he looks cool, but there's no reason for it whatsoever.
Like, I guess because they thought, like, well, we can skip out on all these other figures being in the show, you know, because it doesn't really matter, but, like, we gotta sell the Super Base Optimus Power Links toy, right? Like, that's one of the big ones. So we gotta make sure kids know they can buy that, is what I guess the logic was. Because, I mean, Cyclonus never gets his colors. None of the other characters who got recolors ever get theirs, but Optimus, he gets his in right under the wire. It's weird.
It was like, I looked away for like 3 seconds and it came back and was like, what happened?
Yeah. Galvatron is like, oh, goddamn, how about that? Those minicons really did it. And Alexis is in a very funny moment goes, Galvatron, they couldn't have done without our help, so thank you really would be appreciated. And he just goes, well, I suppose you're right. Thank you, human. Which is very funny.
Good for them.
Yeah, just like, yeah, he does the fucking guy tipping his hat respect. Sideways reemerges from Unicron's heart and is about to try to bash Highwire's skull in with the front tire of his motorcycle for him, presumably. But then Optimus keep that motherfucking thing on him.
Yeah, Optimus says, I've had just about enough of this guy. And throws a dart at Double Face, by which I mean shoots him in the head.
With the fucking Requiem blaster. And just obliterates him. Just completely gone.
Unicron, by way of Double Face, can recover from a lot, but that is too much even for him.
And Sideways, as he begins to fade away, says, "You haven't seen the last of me. I'll have my revenge. Sure thing, buddy. Whatever you say."
I mean, he does come back, does he not?
Technically, it's a weird situation. Listen, we'll get into Galaxy Force eventually. Sure, all that shit's weird. All that shit's really weird. Technically, it wasn't supposed to be connected, but they made it connected when they dubbed it into English, but the Japanese version is actually still separate, but not because they put listen, we'll get there.
What a delight that will be for us.
It's maddening. But yeah, Sideways is dead. Unicron seems to have shut down as a result of all of the weapons being removed. There's a cute moment where Blastoff gives Carlos a smile, because they used to be buddies. And it seems that all is well. And as they're but Galvatron sort of stares at the lifeless husk of Sideways here, and seems troubled by something as they leave. And of course, right as they're about to head out, everyone's ready to go on home. Galvatron says, "Hold on, Prime. We aren't done here yet. I said very clearly that we were to spend our war until after Unicron was dealt with. We have dealt with him, so I think it's about time we ended this shit, don't you think?" Which brings us right into episode 52 of Transformers Armada. What is it called in the sub?
Deathmatch.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, yeah.
Hell yeah. Pretty much the same.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, we open in Unicron floating motionless through space. Everyone's pretty psyched about it, but Hotshot's like, I can't call Prime or Galvatron, and they haven't come out yet, so I don't know what's going on in there.
Yeah, he's like, I think Optimus and Megatron are still in there, but it is my guaranteed 15-minute break right now. So
yeah,
we're gonna head back, and this will happen when it happens, because I got labor rights.
It's like, we'll wait for them back on Cybertron. Let's just cool our jets and await orders to see what happens. Meanwhile, Galvatron is saying a lot of things to Optimus. He's like,
buddy, sure is.
He is like, you and I are opposites. We were built to fight. There is no way we could ever coexist together. One of us has to die right here, right now.
And all the kids are like, literally you don't, though. We've just seen in the last 4 episodes that you don't need to do that.
But then Optimus is like,
well, first of all, before Optimus steps in, the kids are like, you literally don't have to do this. And Megatron's like, they're like, you have, you see that peace is an option. And Megatron's like, yeah, I mean, ideologically, of course it's an option. On a personal level, though, I need to kill this guy.
Yeah, it's like, listen, you wouldn't get it. Step aside. Get out of the way. You couldn't even fucking comprehend the beef we have.
Yeah, and that's when Optimus steps in and he's like, yeah, no, Megatron's right. I want to kill him.
Yeah, and everyone's just like, what? All of the humans are just like, Optimus, are you fucking for real? You can't be seriously saying this. And he's like, listen.
Yeah, no, I want to kill him. He's a talking horse. He can do what he wants. I want to kill.
I want to kill. So Alexis really lays into Galvatron going, did Starscream Sacrifice literally mean nothing to you? You fucking asshole. And he's like, no.
Well, this is the point where he's like, yeah, I mean, Starscream's sacrifice was enough for us to work together for, you know, to set. He's like, listen, But basically, Megatron's whole thing at this point was like, Starscream sacrifice was enough to end the combat between Autobots and Decepticons. We're not talking about that here. No. This is not about Autobots and Decepticons anymore. This is about me and Optimus having a grudge match.
It's like, all of this was only to further my own ambitions, to make sure I came out on top. And Optimus is like, you know what? I'm sick of your bullshit. I'm sick of all that. You and your fucking ambitions end right here, right now. And it's really good. By the way, in case you're wondering, yes, they did spend all the money on this episode. It looks fucking great.
It looks phenomenal and also homosexual.
Well, we'll get there. So, yeah, Optimus just the great thing, he, dramatically points at Galvatron. It's like, your ambitions end here. It's time I finally put you down, basically. And, yeah, like, I wrote down here, Galvatron says, you can deny your hatred for me all you want, Optimus, but in your heart, you know the real truth.
Yeah, and Optimus is like, yeah, no, you're right. I'm not going to deny it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Optimus spends very little time. Like, you can see that, like, Megatron's, like, gearing up to convince Optimus to fight him one-on-one, but he really doesn't need to. Optimus is, like, ready to go.
And he's kind of taken aback by it. Like, when he says the thing, when he says the thing about your ambitions need to be put to rest, he's like, oh, shit, okay. God damn, all right.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, and he's also, like, he later he's like, well, I bet you're just gonna fucking just sit there and let me kill you because you're fighting for peace and all that. And then it's literally, as soon as the kids are gone, it's go time. But we'll get there. It's so fucking good. Unicron is moving again because of all this.
There's a great So it is Stepper who notices that Unicron is moving again, and he is flying back. And I just want to point out that he has a line in Japanese as he's flying before he notices that Unicron is moving again, which is "Lally-ho!" as he's like flying through flying through space.
That's a Final Fantasy thing, right?
I mean, it's like a Japanese thing in general.
Yeah, but it's definitely a phrase that shows up a lot in Final Fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I mean,
has a big portion of lolly-ho based lore.
It's like a fruity little saying, so that doesn't surprise me that it shows up in FF14.
So he's just so Sidesway's basically just whistling, having a great time. Then he looks out his window, and goes, "Oh fuck, he's moving again." So immediately, Hotshot's like, "Okay, so this is an issue now. Here's what I'm gonna do. Everyone else stay here. I will lead a solo mission. I'm going to go in. I'm going to retrieve Optimus and Galvatron." And Jetfire's like...
Somehow he doesn't notice the largest member of his team coming up right behind him.
Yeah.
and Jetfire's like, hey, Hot Rod, look at me. Yeah? Bitch. And then punches him right in the stomach.
Right in the stomach. And he's like, all right, listen, Optimus left you in charge of our ground forces. And I'm not going to let you abandon your post. Plus, this is a mission perfectly designed for me.
Yeah, and Hot Rod's like, you can't go, you're the fucking sub-commander. Like, we can't lose you. And Jetfire's like, I may be the sub-commander, but I wasn't left in charge of this. So, anyway, take a little dirt nap.
Yep. And very funnily, the other member of this little detachment is Cyclonus.
Well, yeah.
He just wanted to hang.
Yeah, to be clear, Sandstorm is not assigned to this.
No, he just
Jetfire starts going on the mission, and then Sandstorm shows up beside him, and he's like, "Why are you fucking here?"
It's like, I don't know. Seems like fun.
Sandstorm's like, I want to kill.
Yeah, like, I mean, obviously, I guess, he's the only remaining flyer of the Decepticons other than Tidal Wave, who doesn't seem willful enough to volunteer for a mission like this. Plus, as we see later, he just really wants to shoot at Unicron again. He has so much fun doing it. He loves it.
He still has to be half as good as Starscream.
Yep. So, then we cut back into the interior Unicron, where Optimus is like, kids, it's been real, it's been fun. You gotta go. You gotta get out of here.
And the kids are like, we don't want to go. And the Microns are like, no, we fucking gotta go.
Yeah.
So Wheelie Bank and RC finally speaks for the first time, I think. And it's like, yeah, no, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, and Optimus just, gives them a nice heartfelt thanks for all of their help and all of the things they taught him, and sends them off.
And Rad and him have a moment that's the fucking Padme and Anakin meme, where it's like, and we're gonna see you again, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna see you, and you'll be back soon, right? And Optimus is like, yes, I'll be. You'll see me again, and clearly neither of them really believe it. Very funnily, so as they leave, both commanders send them off in their own way. Optimus says, "Children, the future is yours," and Galvatron says, "Good riddance, humans."
And then, literally, the moment that they're gone,
this is so fucking hard-bodied.
Yeah, Megatron looks at Optimus and says, "You should be addicted to shutting the fuck up." And Optimus looks back at him and says, "You want to fuck me so bad it makes you look stupid." So
this is where Galvatron's like, all right, well, I assume you're just going to sit there and let me kill you because you love peace so much. Then Optimus, tosses the Matrix away and says, "I am fighting you not as the commander of the Autobots, but the leader of all Transformers."
Yeah,
and then just fucking goes.
It's really funny because in the sub, it's by throwing away the Matrix, he's making clear it's yeah, this isn't about Autobots and Decepticons. I just want to beat your ass into the ground. Yeah,
that seems the moral. Yeah, it's this. I am not here to represent anything other than I am here to get your ass. And yeah, so he just listen, if you only ever watch one episode of Armada, make it this one, because this fight scene's fucking incredible.
This fight scene really borrows heavily from kung fu movies.
Oh yeah.
In a very delightful way. It's a very Crouching Tiger, hidden ass fight scene, and
I don't remember that movie. Was that a sequel? Was that that Triple X parody? Crouching Tiger, hidden ass.
Oh shit!
Usually the ass is hidden.
Hidden tiger ass. Crouching Tiger, hidden dragon ass. There we go. Fuck. I did theater with Ang Lee's son.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He was either one or two. He was 1 grade and 2 years older than me because I'm a summer baby. So, nice guy, nice kid, good actor. Not a great singer, but good actor.
Yeah.
And
can't do everything.
Ang Lee watched me perform in a regional children's theater production of Guys and Dolls. So great, thanks, Ang Lee. Where his kid was one of the 2 other gamblers who wasn't Nathan Detroit.
Did he like it? Did he leave a good review?
You think I actually talked to him? I didn't. I saw him.
Funny if you did. I'm just gonna open the episode in the background here and kind of mouse through it while we talk, because I want to spotlight a few moves here.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about. My little dropped word kerfuffle. Yeah,
so specifically, it's I want to. How does he start this way? He chucks the Matrix. He's like, I'm fighting you not as commander of the Autobots, but as leader of all Transformers, or as it was. Wait, he just starts by just opening fire. He just shoots.
Yes.
Full blast.
And Megatron's like, you struck first?
Yeah, and then he goes in for the fucking flying knee. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so Megatron is totally stunned by Optimus shooting first. Because he's like, I bet you're just gonna roll over and let me. Holy shit, dude, you could have killed me.
Yeah, and he is having a blast. There is so much talk of Galvatron going, damn, this is just like the good old days. I miss the old you, Optimus. Now that my blood is fucking boiling, this is great. Real,
Yes. Ha 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 ha. Yes.
Yeah, real sicko shit. Absolutely. So yeah, Jetfire and Cyclonus arrive at Unicron. Cyclonus immediately starts shooting. Jetfire's like, hey, cut that shit out. But then they find the humans and the Minicons, who are transported to the surface through some kind of portal, and that is where they learn what is happening below and report back. And yeah, everyone's just like, are you... Wait, they're doing what in there?
And they, like, pass by, and they see, like, the Matrix floating in the air.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah, and so everyone is split on what to do. They're basically like, okay, well, we can't let Unicron gather any more strength. We have to fight now while he's weak. And other people are like, well, we can't do that. Optimus and Galvatron are still in there. Like, specifically, it's Demolisher specifically is like, we can't blow that thing up with Galvatron still inside. Wheeljack is like, we have no choice. Everyone is split. Ultimately, the decision comes down to Hotshot, and he's like, you know what? Gotta do it. All units attack Unicron.
Meanwhile, back in the fight, like, they're both having a ton of fun, but Megatron is still, like, surprised by the aggression from Optimus. And both surprised, but also kind of like, I told you so about it.
Yeah.
And Optimus responds by saying, this is my favorite line from the fight, which is like, you know, you're right, Megatron. We are all forged with a warrior's instinct.
Hell yeah.
And that is something for peace that we must strive against. But while I still have it, I am going to beat your ass.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm going to get you. Also, very funny detail as the jets are being scrambled to fire on Unicron. We get the one and only shot of Armada Rhinox in this show. So, towards the end of the Armada toy line, they released a bunch of recolors of old Beast Wars toys. It was Air Razor, Cheetor, Rhinox, and Terrorsaur. Oh, and a Megatron toy that they called Predacon. And like they were so late into the toy line that they never made into the show. They were in the comics though, where they were like captured by Unicron and warped into the Horsemen of the Apocalypse as his like heralds, which is kind of cool.
That does sound neat, actually.
It's fucking sick. So they got a little bit more screen time there, but yeah, this one shot of Rhinox sitting in a fucking jet is the only time they showed up in the actual show. Anyway, Optimus and Megatron are literally tearing each other apart.
Yeah.
Like, Optimus's like, there's like so much wreckage. Optimus's tire gets blown off by fire. He like grapples with Megatron and tears off his treads.
It's sexy.
After Galvatron tries trapping his hand in there, he just tears it off. Yeah, there's a really good there's a fucking incredible moment where he like Optimus basically parries Megatron, shoves him, hits him with a roundhouse kick, and when Galvatron prepares to fire on him with his fusion cannon, Optimus tears something off of his body and throws it into the barrel so it explodes.
Man, if only Starscream had thought about that at any point whatsoever in any continuity. My favorite continuities are the one where Starscream made the fusion cannon for Megatron.
Yeah.
It's like, you did this to yourself, asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where Galvatron is like, God damn, I miss this. You are just this is just fucking just like the good old days. I'm so happy
What's
you're back.
better than this?
Meanwhile, Optimus is thinking about Unicron's repeated, hey bro, you love fighting and I know you can't fucking deny it. I know you love war just as much as that other guy. And he's like, well, maybe he's right, because what so it's been a while since Galvatron used those antlers on something. And so he tries to pull the old antler grapple on Optimus that he used on Hotshot a long time ago. And Optimus tears them off and uses them as swords. He's
so cool. That's my fucking dad.
Like, there's also a bit when he's thinking about Unicron's like warnings. He like looks at his hand and clenches it into a fist as he thinks about it. It's pretty great. So yeah, he is like this is just it's an extremely cool fight. Like this is probably up there in terms of Optimus and Megatron fights. Obviously the 86 movie is like the thing to beat. but this one really gives it a run for its money.
Prime has some pretty good Optimus Megatron fights as well. And frankly, listen, the movies don't do a ton great, and a lot of the fights are very messy to look at, but like the fights where it's just Optimus and Megatron one-on-one are pretty good in the Bayverse.
Yeah, or the ones where he, like the forest fight in Revenge of the Fallen.
Right.
Where it's him, Starscream, and Grindor teaming up on him. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, by no means do you have to give it to Revenge of the Fallen, but...
But, like, the problem is that there aren't actually that many solo fights. It's almost always Megatron and someone else.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is weird.
true.
I didn't see The Last Night. They probably have a solo fight there. He also fights Galvatron.
I did see The Last Night, but I could not tell you anything about it except for the very last, like, minute of it.
Anyway, here's another thing that shows up right at the end of the show. Megatron's toy had a hidden dagger that you could pop out on one of his hands. And
That's
finally
the movie.
makes
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dagger. Got it.
There you go. And it finally makes an appearance here as Optimus is about to swing in with these, like, antler daggers that he's made. Galvatron brings out the fucking shiv and just gets his ass. Like, bad.
Yeah, I mean, this fight, it's beautiful, but it is also an excuse to, like, put in everything that they wanted to put into toy.
Oh, yeah.
That they didn't have
a
chance to show beforehand.
It's like a huge red gash over Optimus's chest after this. And there's a bunch of, like, white stuff spraying everywhere. We'll get back to that later.
It does look like cum.
There is a shot in particular later on where I was like, this.
My note for it is why the cum on his face, though.
Yeah, all right. So actually, this is where it is. So Galvatron, like, chucks him through a wall. And Optimus is just completely exhausted. Yeah, he is on the ground, covered in his white, thick goop. Covering his we will post a picture of this. It is you can't see it as anything else, especially when the lines that come out of their mouths are this. So Galvatron walks up and says, "This can't be how our fight ends, Prime. For eons we've battled. It's much too anticlimactic. I demand satisfaction." And then Optimus weakly, covered in white goop, says, "I wish I could accommodate you." What?
Yeah.
Hello?
It's transfluid, but anyway.
What's going on
by the way,
here?
have I not mentioned that when I was talking about Transformers porn? The word for cum is transfluid.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So Optimus is covered head to toe in trans fluid.
Uh-huh.
So before things can reach a critical mass of homoeroticism, they get sucked out of a hole onto Unicron's surface that has been blown by the Armada.
And like everyone else like sees them and they're like, "Hey, they're all right. Hey, what are they doing?"
Yeah, so what's going on there? Why is Optimus Prime covered in all that stuff? What's going on down there?
Where did he get that lovely pearl necklace?
And yeah, they just continue. So basically, Optimus radios Hotch is like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I've got everything under control. Let me and Galvatron sort out what we're gonna sort out. You just focus on Unicron." And yeah, he as they fight, the Matrix sort of floats around them in a very cool effect. So yeah, like, yeah. Let me just get this.
My next note has to do with like Unicron waking up.
Yep, he's like transforming back into planet mode.
Yeah, and he starts the suck again.
He's starting up that suck. And they're just fighting, and like as the Armada is fighting against Unicron and blowing shit up, you know, everyone's doing their own thing. Galvatron shows off some cool staff tricks as he pulls a pipe off the wall. And then Optimus grabs Galvatron in a backbreaker and snaps him over his shoulders.
Yeah, he breaks the bat.
But he also gets stabbed through the back by Galvatron. So both of them are just completely fucked up, almost unable to move, like heavily injured. And yeah, this is where Galvatron is like, that was a wonderful fight, but the battle is over. I have nothing left for you. You beat me fair and square. Optimus responds, no, Galvatron, I think we will have to call this one as a draw. And then Galvatron says this. You have to admit, we really went at it, huh?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact phrase in the sub, but the tone in the sub is much more, I'd rather die, actually.
So they made it more homoerotic in the dub.
Yeah, he's like, I'd rather die than have it be a draw, and then he kills himself.
Yeah, so what happens specifically is Unicron is waking back up. The suck is reopening. He talks about how long this war has gone on, how much they've changed over their careers, and Galvatron says, I've enjoyed every nanosecond of it, Optimus.
Great.
And Optimus is like, I can't admit to enjoying it, but I do believe it was a necessary evil.
See you in hell, you stupid fruit.
Yep, and then Unicron is back, and Galvatron realizes that this is because of their fight. As long as one of them lives, Unicron will always return. Unicron will always sate himself on the fires of combat. And Unicron's maw is wide open now. We got a big black hole sucking everything in sight.
I have to say, Megatron does the realest shit here.
Oh, yeah. So, Optimus is, holding on to Galvatron as they're dangling above this gigantic, horrible black hole. And Optimus is like, no, you do not, no. And Galvatron's like, let me fall, let me go.
He's like, Megatron says, either you let me go or you lose a hand. And Optimus is like, what? And Megatron takes his knife and stabs Optimus in the hand.
I guess you're losing a hand. And as he falls, he's like, the battle is yours, Optimus Prime.
Okay, this is where he says the dopest shit in the sub.
What does he say?
As he falls, he says, even in the world beyond, I will be your opposite Optimus. Never forget that evil will always be eternal.
That's so much cooler than what he says in the dub, which is just like, the battle is yours. Look after my men. They'll need you, Optimus.
Yeah, no, he's like, he literally falls and he's like, don't forget you're here forever.
Yep. And yeah, so then Unicron just blinks out of existence along with the Galvatron and leaves Optimus floating around in a fucking pile of rubble as he looks at the Matrix and just says, I'm not worthy of this thing.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Earth, where Hotshot and Jetfire are returning the humans and just say, just wrapping everything up here. They're like, well, we're glad all that's over. The Autobots and Decepticons have officially made peace. We're rebuilding Cybertron. We wish we could come visit, but it'll probably be a little bit. We're going to refocus on home, but, we know where you live. We might swing by again. And then one of them is like, hey, you guys ever hear from Optimus? Because apparently he has not shown back up.
Oops.
And Jetfire's like, well, no, but, kids, he's always there in your hearts.
Truly stepping into the Jesus role in the final moments.
Yep. And yeah,
we get voiceover from Optimus here.
Yes, where is he saying the same thing? Where it's like, my duty is complete. I'm stepping away, but I know that peace. Unicron is gone. Galvatron is no more. Peace has finally been achieved, and I look forward to a brighter future. Though if evil ever steps up again, I'll be there.
It's much less specific. It's much more generic, and I kind of like it more because it's much more like, here's the moral of the story. It's much more like, war will always create suffering and hatred regardless of the reasons for it, but goodness is inherent to everyone, and anyone can be a friend.
That's love. Hey, anyone can be a friend. We get a cool shot of him in his original colors, transforming in space, doing a cool hero pose. And then, just a little stinger, we see Unicron all of his lights shining, poking out from behind a distant star, and a clear, like, homage to the opening shot of the 86 movie.
And that was Armada!
That's Armada. That's it. You know, Unicron, you can put him down, but he ain't gone forever.
What an exciting first season.
It is. It was ultimately, I think, it has a very strong conclusion. It's real rocky. We'll say more obviously in our season recap episode next week. But like, I don't know. That last episode was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a good, again, as sort of the introduction for both you and me to the franchise in a serious way. The series that both of us, that was the first series that both of us actually like sat down to watch in any real way. I think it was a good starting point for us, and obviously we're here now, so lasting impressions for sure. Yep.
I think, I would say the best out of the trilogy is either this or Cybertron. Probably Cybertron is a stronger show all the way through, but I think Armada is more iconic. We're not gonna talk about the other one. That one is.
We don't say the E word here.
Yeah, much like Unicron. Unicron lurking at the depths of the cosmos, waiting to strike once more. That show is lurking in the depths of our podcast, waiting for one of us to say the accursed phrase. It will happen eventually.
It will happen eventually. We're gonna get through all of them. But for time being, we got some questions.
We do. Some finale questions here for Armada.
Which you can submit to us by joining our Discord and putting them in our comlink question channel, or by responding to our asks on Twitter. So our first one today comes from Robinus Prime, which is, tell us, what is the reason behind color schemes? Are they something the Transformers are born with? Why those colors? If they can change their color schemes, why don't they do it more often?
Well, I mean, in universe, for this series at least, it is a reflection of them being, like, powered up by the minicons and gaining new strength.
I mean, yeah, so the real reason behind color schemes, as we've discussed many times, is to sell toys without changing models.
Yeah, well, it's way cheaper to just, like, instead of...
To repaint.
To repaint. Like I said, the final wave of Armada was basically Unicron and then a shit ton of repaints.
Yeah. So that is the practical reason behind it. In universe reason, I think, I mean, we see that, I mean, again, depends on your continuity. I'm not a fan of Mairead Scott's work on the comic. I think Till All Are One is a pretty mediocre and ham-fisted comic, but, she says that everyone has, like, a true form, even if they were forged.
Yeah,
not forged.
It's
made to order.
It's so weird, because that concept never comes up again outside of that comic, basically.
It's so ham-fisted. I really don't like it. I really think she's a very weak writer, but...
Yeah, I when I read that, I was like,
The only thing that series had going for it, in my opinion, was Sarah Stone's art.
Oh, yeah.
Which
but
is
of course, you
always
can just read the first Windblade.
Right, you can just read Windblade instead.
A much better comic.
But that being said, we do see several redesigns of different characters. Starscream is one that goes through a ton. Megatron is one that goes through a ton within the comics. I'm talking within the same continuity.
Yeah. Megatron goes through a lot of bodies, mostly because he keeps getting blown up.
Right. But Starscream does it because he's vain.
Yes. There's also Rodimus repaints himself in grieving colors.
So Rodimus repaints himself. So all the the vain ones do. Right, all of the vain ones do. And so it's basically something, like, if they can change their color schemes, why need to do it more often? Probably because most of them just don't see it as practical. I have no idea how expensive something that I mean, I'd imagine it's something akin to, like, cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, like, to get like an actual, like, yeah, you could paint yourself, but that's going to wash off eventually.
Right, but to actually get, like, retrofitted, I imagine something akin to,
yeah, because, I mean...
surgery. So only the people who are, like, characters who are, like, very, very vain are actually going to invest money. So it's, like, Knockout, it's Starscream, it's, like, Rodimus.
Yeah, like, the thing about the colors that you had to remember, like, it's like living metal. That's their skin, basically.
Yeah, there's, like, nanomachines.
Yeah.
That, like, nanites that, like, do repairs or whatever. So, anyway, yeah, for those who care enough about it and have, like, the money to invest in it, they do, like, we canonically see that they do.
Oh, yeah.
That.
And, also, it shows up a lot in this one, and it is especially egregious in the show that shall not be named, where, like, the entire cast gets recolored at one point, basically.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah, Cass Arachnia has a question here, which is, if you had to steal an important document on Cybertron, which 3 Transformers would you want to team up with?
All right, I have to break this down between Armada and every other continuity again. So
yeah, I mean, obviously we need the 3 most competent Armada characters. So Blur is there.
Blur is there.
Who's the, like, Blur is the fucking, like,
I guess
Wetworth
Starscream.
guy. I think Starscream is a loose cannon. He might go off on something and fuck something. I think we need, Blur's got
Silverbolt's also a loose cannon.
Well, he's a little bit more aloof about it. I think he got his hot head under control
Rampage.
a little bit. Yeah,
Rampage has it under control.
The stealth. He also has the fucking stealth ability, and by
and
that
Ratchet.
measure, yeah, I think Ratchet is the plans guy.
Yeah,
Ratchet is the guy
exactly.
who's, like, sitting in the command room.
Yeah.
Blur is, like, the guy who's in there, doing the social stuff, right? Like he's the cool guy at the door, and then Wheeljack is the one slipping inside. Or alternatively,
Devastator could also be good.
Yeah, actually, let's swap Blur for Scavenger. He's much more good at the social game, as we see in the show.
Yeah.
We could also swap Wheeljack for Thrust, but I don't think that would be a good idea.
No.
Because they can both turn invisible, but Thrust is a bad guy to put on your heist team.
Yeah.
He will betray you.
He will betray you.
Possibly
also,
to the
you
devil.
have to be around him.
Yeah. Sideways, similar trade-off, would not want to do it because, once again, he will betray you.
Right, exactly. He'd be great at it, but he would betray you.
He is literally the devil. As far as, like, continuity, like, IDW, I guess, is the one we always jump to for continuity-wide, right?
I'm gonna go cross continuity though. So I'm gonna say IDW Drift.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say G1 Mirage.
Yep.
And I'm gonna say TFA Jazz.
Oh yeah, he's a smooth operator right there. Yeah, that makes sense. That all makes sense to me. That all tracks. That's a team I could get behind.
Actually, no. I'm going to, because I just can't fucking stand Mirage. I'm going to switch out Mirage with literally any sound wave, but let's do Prime.
Type.
Let's do Prime Soundwave.
The really strong silent type.
Yeah.
Prime Soundwave is the ultimate Chad. Love that guy.
I fucking love Prime Soundwave.
Cass also asked, would you go back in time and kill Baby Megatron? Brainstorm tried to.
I know.
It didn't go very well.
I know, but I kind of want to try again anyway.
Might as well. I mean, sure, time paradoxes will happen. You might accidentally create, a cryptid. But, it's worth trying, I guess.
There's so many time paradoxes in that fucking series.
All fucking folded
It
in
is
on itself.
It is a series. It is amazing that it is a series that is literally, predicated on time paradoxes.
There's so many of them.
But, that is, none of it would happen if specifically Redacted didn't, create one giant time loop for the entire series that you find out at the very end of the series.
I love that shit.
Yeah. Following... Oh, can my phone please work? Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god, what the fuck is happening with this? 1 second. I have to restart my...
Well, I will read the next question from Robinus Prime, which is, ever think about how Transformers, a children's series, is allowed to have very gruesome on-screen deaths? It's because of robots.
Yeah, it's not people, it's fine.
The rules are different. And even then, in the comics, the deaths get far more gruesome. Poor Pipes.
Oh my god, Pipes.
Oh, and not to forget, God, there's just so much Robogore in the works of James Roberts. Remember what happened to Springer in Last Stand of the Wreckers? Oh no, it's Overlord. Overlord gets all his skin blown off.
Yeah, there's also just the entire DJD.
Oh. They have a guy who's a wood chipper.
Slash
He's big.
And furnace simultaneously.
Yep. They have a pet who is we won't say what the deal with that one is.
Yeah.
Let's just say
when your pet play gets really advanced.
It's the highest level. It really is.
All right. From Horn My Starscream is, which alternate modes do you like the least? / what would you replace them with?
So let's limit ourselves to Armada.
Limit ourselves to Armada. Okay. I don't know. A lot of like the cars are pretty generic.
I like a lot of the designs in Armada. Let's see. I mean, I feel like Sideswipe should be like a motorcycle or something, right? I mean, it feels weird that he's a car.
I mean, as Stepper, I think it makes sense. As Sideswipe, he should be a Lambo.
But he's not even a Lambo. He's like a fucking sedan.
I know. He's like not cool at all. So I think
he's such a nerd.
I think that's just like a weird. And of course, again, like I know that like a lot of the G1 names were like reused here with nothing that resembled their G1 selves.
With reckless abandon.
Yeah, and like I don't mind that, but like Stepper does not look like a Sideswipe.
No, he doesn't act like one either. It's just a fucking...
Yeah, like this is... That name like calls to mind a very specific attitude, and it's not Stepper's, so...
He's the most fucking jock-ass Autobot you could think of.
Yeah, Jet Judo.
But no, Sideswipe is just sort of a weird nerd who really wants to impress his bro.
Yeah.
Other than... I mean, I would just redesign... Sideswipe from the ground up. Honestly, I just don't. He's the design I think I like the least. I wouldn't change Thrust for the world. I love how fucked up he is. Just a hideous beast. Like, I don't know. I guess. I mean, we talked about the Megatron tank thing. I guess this tank looks fine. I'm trying to think of another like alternate mode I have issue with, and I can't really think of one. Like they're all pretty good.
The alt modes, I don't feel particularly strongly either way about any of the alt modes.
Once we get to the series that will not be named on this podcast, I will have a lot to say about how fucking ugly everything is.
Yeah. It's going to be fun when we can't even name the series while we're watching it.
We're covering episodes 30 and 31 of, that one show. Yeah, from 30 to 31 of fucking static noise.
From Spike, now that you've reached the end, why is it named Armada? Well...
all the United Cybertronian Armada that fights against Unicron at the end. And the minicons, I guess, too.
From Robin is Prime again. If you were born into the functionist society, what alt modes and thus social statuses do you get saddled with upon being born / constructed?
I'd be one of those laser pointer guys.
I think I'd be, like, just given my background, born into, like, relative privilege, because that's, like, the background that I come into. I don't know, maybe I'd be born on Caminus. None of this would happen.
None of this would happen. Simply not being born into the functionist society.
Yeah, I would just... If I was going to be born into the functionist society, I would simply say no thank you. Rip to Brainstorm's alternate timeline, but I'm different.
Uh-huh. That dude just loves making splinter timelines, doesn't he?
I love him. He's so gay, and he's so gay. I can't believe he does all of this because he's gay.
He's gay and unhinged, and we love that.
Look at me, Preceptor. Preceptor.
Please notice me, Preceptor. Look at this. I invented time travel.
Preceptor.
Simpatico. Brainstorm. Overlord Bunny asks, who is the best pair of pants? Jetfire. Tidal Wave was barely sentient. Overload just wasn't sentient. He didn't say anything. He was just guns.
I forgot about Overload.
So don't worry, the show did too. Like another late edition Armada thing. We're just like, just shove it, just put it in there. Just shove it in there somewhere. The kids gotta know they can buy this. Which is a shame because I think I like the bit, like the fucking design.
No, I would have liked to see more of that, honestly.
But it just never happened.
It happens in like 2 episodes and it was never mentioned again.
Yeah, Literally, one time he combines with Overload to like fly away from Galvatron, and then uncombines with him without doing anything.
Perfect.
What was the point?
Perfect.
That's Arachnia asks, do you think Megatron has girl power? Do you think he wielded girl power effectively by funneling funds into Micron militias?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, he did.
What if it was purple?
What if it was purple? We didn't see Leader 1 say goodbye to Galvatron. I wish we saw that. They seemed like they were bros a little bit. Also, Sparkplug just vanished. No Sparkplug. He's gone. He's out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny that all of the Microns who, like, weren't one of the weapons immediately stopped being relevant, except for the straight action team.
Except for Blackout, too, because remember, they saved Blackout.
Right, yes, but it's just like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, they're just gone.
Completely.
So sad.
They were in the giant glowing Unicron bubble.
Yeah, they're in the orbs.
Does Megatron Girl Boss Kate keep in Gaslight? No, Doubleface does.
Well, remember, there was that episode in the fog where he was just constantly gaslighting Starscream.
Okay, he does gaslight.
He girl bosses. Does he gatekeep, though?
He gatekeeps control of the Decepticons.
That's true. There we go. All three.
And finally, our last question of the season, except not really, because we're going to open up questions for our general season wrap-up next week. From Casey Cosmetector, was the real Armada the friends we made along the way? Yes.
Yes. Quite literally, yes. Well, that's it. Until next time when we recap this show as a whole and officially announce, even though it's kind of an open secret, we officially announce.
Even though we've been talking about it for
even though everyone knows
now.
what the next thing we're going to be covering is, we will announce what season 2 of the show will be covering.
I'm Prey.
And opening up guest spots, so keep an eye out for that post. We have been Prime Cuts. You can find us on Twitter at PrimeCutsPod. Join our Discord in the link in our Twitter bio right there under the links section. I think this week I will try to do a Jackbox, either this week or next week. Since we finished with the season, I'll try to get that together.
I think we should do it next week. I think we should do it after the wrap up.
That sounds good to me. We are, of course, a part of the Noise Space podcast network, noisespace.xyz, with all sorts of wonderful, glorious, beautiful shows, such as Forward, ReZero, Kyle XY, 0 to 0. I gotta watch the fucking Suicide Squad. I definitely want to watch that before I listen to that.
It actually was good, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't watch Wonder Woman 1984 because there's no way before I listen to those. So I definitely want to watch the good ones. Just like anything you could possibly want in a podcast, you can have on Noise Space. That's the Noise Space promise. Don't that's non-binding though. You can't hold me to that. Me? Oh, why me? You can find me on Twitter at Dragonsmoocher. And all of my various projects in all sorts of other various places, such as the old She-Ra podcast I did with my friend Jane. That is at Podcast to Power. It is a recap and companion podcast to the 2018 Netflix She-Ra. And finally, I can say this for real.
Yahoo!
You can follow our Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast, Radio Free Heidelin, at Heidelin Radio. The first prelude episode went up this week. We got 3 of these. I'm editing the second one. The first one's all about the general, game of Final Fantasy XIV. What is it? The second one's going to be all about the timeline of Eorzea. And the third one is going to be covering the sort of lost media, almost, that is Final Fantasy XIV 1.0. The game's so bad, they literally blew it up and started over. But there's important stuff in there, and so we must document it. After that, we will be beginning our journey. So keep an eye on that. That's going to be starting up very, very soon. And I'm also on Disney Minus, at Disney Minus Pod. We just did an episode on Brave, Changing Your Fate. And next episode is going to be on Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Yes!
a all-time classic.
Who Framed Silly Rabbit?
And that's me.
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr and Twitter at Optimum on Prime, which is my funny robot internet joke. You can also listen to the other podcast I do. It's called Pot of Greed. You can find us at Pot of Greedcast or on Noisepace or wherever you find podcasts. And it's about Yu-Gi-Oh! And we're towards the end of Season 3 of GX and have been for a while, but this time for real. We're finishing Season 3 in June? No, we're finishing Season 3 in July because we're going to take August off.
It has a body count.
Oh, a rapidly growing body count. We have like 100 people dead at this point.
Yay!
Like, Judai's on the warpath. It's.
I wonder why they couldn't dub season 4.
It's a mystery. It's a good time though. This week's episode was one of our best. There's a big flat dick in it from the 4 p.m. dick flattening. So. Go ahead and give that a listen. And I think that's it for me. So, this has been Prime Cuts. This has been Prime Cuts covering Armada. And until next time, I am going to show you my Kung Fu transform and roll out.
I will grapple with my eternal opponent, kiss him tenderly on the cheek before judo throwing him through a wall, and then transform and roll out.
It's a Kaonian Tuant.
Peach!